This is OwlUp, where learning happens in minutes, not hours. For a deeper journey, explore all our courses at owlup.co. Now, let's dive in. Welcome back to Chapter 2 of our series, Building Your First Model Rocket. In this episode, titled Choosing the Right Rocket Kit, we're going to explore the different types of rocket kits available and how to pick the perfect one for your launch. So, whether you're looking for speed, altitude, or just a fun weekend project, we've got you covered. Let's dive in. A tiny cardboard rocket can break highway speed before you finish saying 3, 2, 1. Yet most first-time launches fail long before liftoff, at the moment you choose the kit. One choice leads to a smooth whoosh, another to a tumble, a law issue, or a scorched backyard. NASA engineer Homer Hickam once said, "A rocket won't fly unless somebody lights the fuse." For model rocketry, that fuse is your very first choice, what you put on the launch pad. Beyond success or failure, that decision quietly shapes the skills you'll build, the places you can safely fly, and even whether your neighbors stay curious or annoyed. Today, we'll widen the frame. Rather than asking, "Will this rocket fly?" we'll ask better questions. How much room do I really have? How high should I go if I want to see the whole flight? What kind of build do I actually enjoy? Fast and simple, or slow and meticulous, like sketching tiny details in a drawing? We'll also thread in the realities that rarely make it onto the box, club rules, certification steps, and how your choice today opens, or closes, doors for bigger projects later. So instead of starting at the hobby shop wall and staring at boxes, we'll back up one step and map out who you are as a flyer right now. Are you the press launch and grin type, or the measure twice, sand once, tweak until perfect type? Do you have a soccer field, a farm field, or just a tight park bordered by trees? Think of today as scouting a trail before a hike. We'll sketch your current altitude limits, comfort with tools, tolerance for risk, and how often you realistically want to fly. Then match that profile to specific kit families and motor ranges. Let's turn that blurry wall of rocket boxes into a map you can actually read. Start by plotting yourself on 3 axes: build complexity, motor class, and materials. Each axis nudges you toward a different family of kits. On the build side, think of 3 broad rungs you can step between, not forever, just for this season. At the simplest end are kits that come with fins molded in place or that snap together. The build is mostly decals and maybe a shock cord knot. In the middle are kits that expect you to glue separate fins, align them carefully, and do some light finishing work. At the deep end live projects with dozens of parts, internal structures you'll never see again after assembly, and instructions that feel more like a short booklet than a sheet. Now layer in motors. Instead of labels like powerful or goes high, look at the letter on the motor the kit recommends as its upper end. A letter or two change can quietly double or quadruple total impulse. If you're flying from a school field and you'd like to watch everything from boost to landing without binoculars, kits that top out at the lower letter range will often give you more usable fun than something capable of vanishing into the clouds. Higher letters can come later, after you're confident with tracking, wind judgment, and recovery. Materials form the third axis. Lightweight paper tubes and plastic parts are forgiving. They tolerate slightly rough landings, and you can cut or sand them with basic tools. Heavier woods or composites reward precision and planning. They also tend to pair with stronger motors and higher speeds. Notice what the kit assumes you already own: saws, sanders, epoxies, and whether that matches your current bench. The sweet spot is where your patience, tools, and flying field overlap. One kit might promise altitude records, another gorgeous craftsmanship. Your job is to pick the one that lets you come home with both a story and a rocket you're excited to fly again. Think of 3 different flyers standing in the same hobby shop aisle. One grabs a tiny starter kit meant for A motors, not because it's for beginners, but because their favorite part is squeezing in lots of flights during a short window at a school field before the wind picks up.
Another deliberately reaches for a kit that requires an evening with sandpaper and paint, because they care more about how the rocket looks on a shelf between launches than how high it goes. The third already knows their local club has access to a huge farm field and a standing waiver, so they scan boxes for models that can safely stretch into the upper end of mid-power E/G motors.
Here's one way to visualize it. Planning a weekend art retreat. You might pack a single sketchbook and pencil, a small watercolor kit, or a full easel and oil paints. The destination, time, and mood you're after quietly decide what goes in the bag, just like your field, schedule, and curiosity decide which kit truly fits. Soon, your kit choice won't stop at what's printed on a box. As 3D printers shrink in price and grow in precision, you'll be able to tweak fin shape or nose length on a laptop, print the airframe overnight, and test it that weekend. Phone-based sensors will turn every flight into a tiny data mission. Altitude traces, spin rates, even temperature changes. Bit by bit, your rockets become less like toys and more like prototypes, small, personal testbeds for ideas you haven't had yet. Each kit you try becomes a quiet logbook entry. Which wins felt risky? Which paints behaved? Which checklists saved you from last-minute panic? Over time, those notes turn the hobby into a kind of personal cartography. You're sketching a map of what you can design, fly, and recover, then shading in new territory with every launch you dare. Try this experiment. Pick 2 beginner-friendly rocket kits at different complexity levels, for example, an Estes Alpha and an Estes Big Bertha, and build them side by side, timing how long each step actually takes you. As you build, snap a quick photo after each major step: fin attachment, launch lug, recovery system, nose cone, and jot a 1 to 5 frustration rating directly on the instruction sheet. Then launch both rockets on the same day using the recommended motors, and notice which one gives you more confidence, cleaner flights, and easier prep. Based on what you observe, decide which difficulty tier, Alpha-like or Bertha-like, will be your default for your next 3 rocket purchases. This was OwlUp, your daily step forward. This series continues with more chapters on OwlUp.co. Visit OwlUp.co to access the complete course and continue your learning journey. See you there!